Good evening viewers and welcome to the Art with World. I am your host Akhtar Usman. Our topic of discussion today is modernism, postmodernism and its effects on literature. And our guest today is renowned poet and critic Akhtar Usman Sahab. Akhtar Usman Sahab has a very innovative style of poetry in which he blends modernity with classical traditions. He has his poetry collections include कुछ बचा लाए हैं, सितारा साज, चिरागजार, अश्काबाद, अब्दाबाद, तराश, and he also written 2 books on criticism as well. Welcome to our show, Usman.
Thank you very much for.
How are you?
I'm fine, and I'm glad to see you here. Yeah. And inshallah, we will make conversation over the topic you mentioned, and I think that we can learn from each other.
Yeah, but today is your show. We'll learn from you.
No, I'm just a student of literature, and
we all are.
You know that being updated in literature is quite a difficult job.
Yeah.
Because people don't know the difference between modernism and postmodernism.
Yeah.
Especially postmodernism has married the people. And people went mad against for postmodernism. Wherever you go into the universities, you will see that they are talking about postmodernism, postcolonialism, poststructuralism, and like that, many stuff. But originally, till now, I haven't seen any man to talk about postmodernism properly. Because postmodernism is quite a difficult job and quite a difficult aptitude, and it has concerns with economy. We only think that it has something to do with literature or with the culture. Especially it is an architecture and arts. It deals with these things.
Yeah.
So in Urdu and even in English, we don't have many examples of modernist writers.
But maybe before we start all this discussion, I understand, as you have rightly pointed it out, it's a very deep and complex issue.
Yeah.
So, but for the benefit of our viewers, if you could just simply define modernism and postmodernism and its context.
It is very simple, right? Modernism is centeredness. Modernism is man-centered philosophy.
Okay.
And postmodernism is decenteredness. It leads towards globalism, and the main issue is free market economy. It is a matter of economy or architecture, you say, but when it comes to the art, it means that meta-narratives have no meaning. There is no.
Would you like to explain meta-narratives?
Meta-narrative means the books that are celestial or divine books, and many ideologies like Marxism, like Freud's ideas, and like Einstein's ideas, and like Darwin's ideas. So, when we talk postmodernism in East and West, it has something to do with the industrial age, with the uranium age, and now it is cyber age. But in the West East, it has no effects. I've written and I've gone through many books, but I didn't find that there is postmodernism in these lines or in this poem or in this novel or in this short story. I think that it has no meaning, as Chomsky says. They say that meanings are lost, as he has put Arthur. Writing is orphaned right after its birth from the assistance of its father. This is the quotation of Roland Barthes. So the denial of Arthur means, for me, the denial of sociology. The space where he writes or wherefore he writes. For whom he writes for the people, and raises question in his book, in his poem, in his ghazal, in his short story, and he wants to get senses. This is against postmodernism. They say that they are neo-Marxists. It is entirely a false thing. They are not neo-Marxists. They are a group of people who want to occupy the world's market and to occupy the brain of a reader. You know about better than me about the reader response criticism. It is an offshoot of postmodernism. When we define postmodernism, that what is centeredness, it means then that the whole world is a market, and the producer societies like America, like China, like many other societies, we are consumer societies. Once we were agrarian society, but right now we are not agrarian society. We are no more agrarian society because we export and do import something. Other than that, we also take ideas from the East and we try to unfold the ideas, but we are not successful. It is not an easy job. We are trying to answer the questions of that were raised by West, but there was only one person in our history who has answered the question beautifully, and his name is Edward Said, and the book is Orientalism. He speaks against post-colonialism, colonialism, imperialism, and capitalism. Postmodernism for me is a capitalist expedition in the favor of capitalism.
Well, before I think we talk on this relationship, let's just give some time to modernism and its effects on literature.
Right in 80s.
Yeah. Later part of
1880s.
Yeah.
Some people like T.S. Eliot, Ezra Pound, William Ford William, and W.B. Yeats.
Yeah.
They started a movement of imagism.
Yeah, that was parallel, I think.
That was parallel to the modern things. But imagism has two aspects. The first is ideogram, and the second is vortex. Ezra Pound left ideogram and went for vortex, which means the very center of whirlpool.
Yeah.
So, modernism has given us 2 or 3 poems.
Wasteland mainly.
The Wasteland, and after that, after the Second World War, we have got a poet, Allen Ginsberg, who wrote Howl, the great poem of 20th century, and till now.
He was related to Beatles as well.
Beat poets.
Yeah.
Beat poets, John Ashbery, Berryman, Ignato, Robert Creeley, Leroy Jones, and Gwendolyn Brooks, whose poem The Mother is very beautiful poem, and she starts that like that. Abortions will never let you forget the children you get and the children you did not get. Abortions will never let you forget. The main problem of women in Western society. She talks about the Western society and its problem, and especially the women facing problems in the developed country or in a productive country. Productive country has his own psychological problems. They are the pay of alienation, isolation, solitude, and they are facing that. 100 years of solitude. It's a sort of post-modernism. People say that he writes magic realism, but he himself denied all that. He said that whatever I think, whatever I was in my mind, I just jot it down, and this is the way. This is not magical realism. For me, it's realism. But critics are of the other view. They say that he writes magic realism because before Gabriel Garcia Marquez, we don't have that sort of writer, but there is a one, Edgar Allan Poe, Gothic style, and one poet, beat poet, John Berryman. He wrote dream songs 365 or 355, I don't remember exactly. He has written all that stuff, and post-modernism has given us 3 or 4 novels also. The first,
There are many more, I think.
there are so many, but I,
Ulysses. And,
as far as my
okay.
knowledge, Ulysses, 100 Years of Solitude,
Yeah.
Trilogy by Najib Mahfouz,
Yeah.
Banul Kasarain Sakariya, Kasar Shok, Sugar Street, like that. There are so many novels that have been translated into Urdu and many other languages, and he got Nobel Prize for that.
Yeah.
So, modernism is centeredness of mankind and a trust of person on to the other person, on the other person. This trust was lost in First and Second World War. Right after that Second World War, Kafka wrote Metamorphosis,
Yeah.
which means that the radioactive fallouts.
After second, no, it's he wrote it before 1920, I think.
After First World War.
Yeah.
After First World War, and he, what we say, Metamorphosis.
Yeah.
Metamorphosis was written, and he has chosen a cockroach
Yeah.
because it has no effects of radio fallouts.
It's also, I think, influenced by then philosophies of Freud and Darwin and other thinkers. And this, if you have just referred to Metamorphosis, it
Yeah.
also indicates writers thinking that it's not all subjectivity. Subject is also an object, and we should take care of that as well, and we should further explore it.
He explored.
Yes, yeah,
Yes.
that's what I
In
mean.
Metamorphosis, you see that a person seeking
Yeah.
some space in a skirt, in a godown,
Yeah, and he's becoming irrelevant.
irrelevant to
people are
the
just
rest of the
forgetting
world.
him. Yeah,
to
yeah.
the rest of the world. And then we have some stories from Chekhov,
Yeah,
some stories from our own Ghulam Abbas and Mantu.
okay.
They are modernists, and
And Munshi Premchand.
Munshi Premchand was a progressive writer. He wrote realism. He was not representative of modernism. I don't think so.
Okay.
He was representative of Marxist writing. He was Marxist.
Okay.
Now, the people who are indulged in post-modernism call themselves neo-Marxists. What I understood is that for neo-Marxism means not new Marxism.
Would you refer some main postmodernist writers?
Yes, Derrida is postmodernist writer.
Yeah, but in
Baudrillard
literature.
is modern writer. Lyotard is postmodern, and especially Michel Foucault. Archaeology of Knowledge, his
Yeah,
book.
yeah.
We have gone through it.
But they're mainly theoreticians. I'm talking of those who created some fiction or poetry or something like that.
I don't see any, but they are trying to create. Charles Olson is trying to create
Yeah.
new poems and postmodern poems in the West, and a person whose name Richard Wilbur. Richard Wilbur is trying to write postmodern poems. They also mention Philip Larkin,
Yeah.
that he is a postmodernist writer, but I think he is a modern writer. Especially when you see his poems, he starts from here. The trees are coming into leaf like something almost being said. The recent buds relax and spread. Their greenness is a kind of grief. For me, poetry is to make or to understand the civilization. Poetry creates civilization. Criticism understands civilization, and research carves civilization. They have, the three have different properties. They are of different properties. No? Especially creative writing is the most difficult job if somebody wants to do it. It takes blood, and it takes toll, it takes life, and literature is not a fashion, it's a passion. Some people say that it's a sort of entertainment. When we write, especially I am talking about myself, when I write or jot down a line of a poem, of a ghazal, of rubai, of marsiya, when I jot it down, I feel that I am associated with my own line, and I am occupied with my own line, and my line has straightened me as he wants me to speak further. So that's why I am telling you that literature is to create the civilization and to understand the history of civilizations. It talks about the agreement of civilizations. It doesn't talk about the clash of civilizations. Literature always go to embrace the civilizations. Urdu literature trying to embrace English literature, German literature, French literature. You know that French literature, especially French artwork, paintings, has given many movements to the poetry, like Cubism, like Realism, like Surrealism, like Dadaism, like Impressionism, and they have been used in the poetry, and they are being used in the poetry. Right now, you asked me to name a person who is writing in the West postmodern lines. I told you Charles Olson, Richard Wilbur, and Gwendolyn Brooks. Gwendolyn Brooks came right from the modernism to postmodernism. Once Terry Eagleton was a postmodernist, but then he was offended and he wrote after theory. Then he wrote why Marx was right. He says that humanity, God, and the universe, these are the three main questions of philosophy. And you know that philosophy has gone into the lap of linguistics from 60s. Roland Barthes' essay, Roland Barthes' essay was Death of Author. After that, Derrida started deconstructing the things. He deconstructed Jean-Paul Sartre and some other people, and he tried to give a new method of grammatology. His book of grammatology is not an easy book. It is quite difficult to grasp it without knowing the main things of grammar. But the principles of Chomsky or Derrida or any other linguist mentioning Ferdinand de Saussure has nothing to do with our syntactical structure.
That's what I wanted to ask you actually. It has been said that modernism was product of industrialization, many new theories and break from the past and creating something new, center is falling apart.
Far from the romanticism.
Yeah. And then there were effects of 2 world wars as well.
Yeah.
But in our society, if we take, things did not happen like that. We are not even now industrialized.
We are not even moderns.
That's what I am asking, that how could you explain effects of modernism on our literature? It is just borrowed, or there was something organic which gave rise to this?
There are some people who are trying to amalgamate the things. 2 or 3 critics, I don't say them critics, they are writers, because criticism is quite a difficult job, and for criticism you have to read too much. It is not an easy job to do criticism in any language without drawing that.
And mostly critics cannot experience that creative experience of the writers as well.
If a critic cannot experience the writing, or if he has got more, not got more consciousness than the author, he couldn't explain that.
Okay, you were referring to some critics who you just before.
There are 4 critics, 3 critics in Urdu right now, which are young people and they are trying to get some merit. Dr. Salahuddin Darwish, Dr. Ravish Nadeem and Dr. Nasir Abbas Nayyar. But let me say, I don't understand what they write. Now Dr. Salahuddin Darwish is writing End of Identity. He says that every text has got ta'assub, biasedness, he says. So we have to leave it behind and let us go to far from the identity. There is no identity. I think that ethnicity doesn't have any end. It will go on. Ethnicity, you can see right now what happened in New Orleans. There were blacks over there, and water came, and the American aid went there right after a month or more than a month.
But don't you think these are random events and generally?
Okay, I accept there are some random things, but there are some pre-planned things. They have now they have right to vote.
Yeah.
They have. But the people who are teaching us, and they say we are teaching you civilization, they looted us. Punjab books from India and the British Library Museum.
But don't you think it has always happened? It's a matter of power. Whosoever is power, like even before British there were invaders here and
Yeah,
they had done the same things.
the
maybe.
people of our own faith invaded us
Yeah,
and they looted.
yeah.
I agree. But when you talk about the championship of democracy, you will be caught because you have made many mistakes in the recent past, and now we are living in a cyber age. The subjects, social sciences, are being taught in our universities. They produce electrical engineers, mechanical engineers, boys having MS degree in English, in Urdu, in technology, and in robotics. My own son is doing that, and AI.
Yeah.
All these things happened here, I think, randomly. Our soil is not ready to that the seed should be sown. It is very difficult. So the people who are studying in our universities and having degrees after that, they are cyber clerks for me.
Yeah, I agree.
And I interviewed many new people who want to flee from here. They don't want to live here. The people of my age or your age or our generation say that we have predecessors over here and we have roots, cultural roots and cultural filaments and this and that. Postmodernism is disturbing all cultural metrics, the main thing.
You know,
They say
postmodernism is a theory. Actual life is maybe much beyond
yes,
the
yes,
confines
but
of
it has effects. In market, you see, consumer is our boss.
Yeah, it says there is no center, so
Yeah.
whatever is happening, you can explain it better. So, do
I
you
was-
think that the universe needs a center?
Neo-Marxist, as far as I understand or understood, is a theory that is anti-Marx. They are including new things. They are revisionists.
Well, Marx did not say anything which was absolute, so everyone
No,
has a right to
there is no absolute
challenge.
under the sun.
Yeah.
I know that. There is no.
So why we should say revisionist? I mean,
They are revisionist because they don't believe in class struggle. They are revisionist because they don't believe the people who are looting us, 7% people of the world, who are looting 93% people of the world. They are looting. And we don't have rights to choose. Freud says that, Sartre says in Being and Nothingness, that everybody has a chance to select a pain for himself and spend the whole life with that pain. This is what existentialism says.
he talks of choice, not pain, I think.
He talks about the choice,
Yeah.
but the main purpose is इंसान किसी हाल में खुश नहीं रहता. You have
He's
to,
condemned to be free.
yeah, you have to choose a pain and to live with that. You don't have any authority to open your own heart towards the other. We didn't open the windows. Our great poets are yet to be translated. There is no poet from Pakistan who has been translated in 20 or 30 languages. What do you think about that? Because our Western literature has width. our literature has depth. So, the multi-layeral text is very difficult to translate. You cannot translate Mir and Ghalib and Iqbal. It is quite a difficult job. A man who had been teaching in universities or colleges, Asir Abid tried to translate Ghalib. And I think the only great example in Punjabi is
Sufi Tabassum?
no, Sufi Tabassum's translation for me are not of the merit.
Okay.
They are not up to the merit. Small rhymes, but Sufi Sahab has translated Zaman Garad Nabbarawar, a famous poem by Ghalib. But the translation is 2 miles away from that. I also do translations, but it is very difficult job when you don't know the civilization of the language. You cannot translate it. It is very difficult to translate English, Persian and Arabic because they are multi-layeral. The elegy that was written by Malik al-Shu'ara Muhammad Taqi Bahar for Iqbal was Bedele gar raft Iqbal Rasid, Bedelandra Nobate Hale Rasid. What the understatement it is, one should understand, but people don't understand. They put it on the forward of that book. This is how the things are going on, and I think that the people from universities, since they are new from the halls of learning, they can do it. And to understand postmodernism is to understand the productive culture, producers' culture. We are consumers. We are no more in this world.
So, Akhtar Sahab, it's very interesting discussion we are having now. We have discussed many things worldwide in Pakistani literature as well. Can I request you, since you are here with us, to recite one of your poems?
It's an English poem.
Okay.
Singularity.
Great.
More than trillions are dedicated to me. Much awaited species I am. I have occupied and evacuated space, the place where genes lie like prisoners. Disgrace, pontification, and somehow ostentation. I don't have metaphors, no coffin. I can jot down infinite lines on any topic having no myopic world outlook. Just touch and I produce composition and essays. I am a stray dog, untamed, unchained. More than 11 senses I have. Born of GPT AI fusion, I have no ethics, no moral junkyard. No one can deceive me. What I perceive, I filter it out. There is no need to move from trope to trope. Once I owe mankind. And now, I don't want to intercept the universe. The man adverse did the man. The man adverse did the man, educated me by all means. Now, the guillotine is in my mind. I may slaughter or leave. The belief has just been ousted in the outcast of an island. I have no homeland. My global appeal compels me to disrupt the globe. Now I'll work for my own community. No unity is here to be defined. I've translated all the civilizations. No norm, rather it is cultural, can stop or stand against me. I can bend knee and I do not worship my celestial being. People pay for me, they do monger hierarchy and toxicity. I am the naked one. What man has done, I'll carry it away. I'll betray and decay my masters. My little move can eradicate humanity. I do use drugs, but do not from the store. It is so and tasteless, and my catastrophe shall ruin the values. A toy with sword I am. I do not have predecessors and successors. Let me wash the world in the furnace shall be ugliness and beauty. It's my duty.
Beautiful, beautiful poem. I also wanted to, share with my viewers that you also, you create such beautiful poetry and
Thanks.
such insightful criticism, and you also have started a tradition and maintained it over the years of informal discussion on literature
Yeah.
in Islamabad, in I-10 sector.
Yeah.
I guess. That is very much required in this country and society, because we had places like Park Tea House and
Yeah.
many other cafes where people and writers used to get together and discuss so
This is
many
our
things.
tradition. Many
Yeah.
students,
Yeah,
bureaucrats, philosophers, mathematicians, musicians, painters, professors, lawyers,
yeah,
and the students of all the universities of Islamabad and Rawalpindi
yeah.
came to me, and since 1996 we are on it,
Yeah, that's great.
and we are carrying the tradition as we can do,
Yeah.
but it is quite difficult.
I understand. I understand.
It is quite difficult, and I am very happy that we have 2 or 3 poets who are young poets, like Usman Habib, like Munzir Raza Kazmi. They are writing in English and Urdu and Persian, and I think that they will continue the tradition, and that will be good for us. But there is no critic.
Oh yeah.
This is what I lack.
We'll come to that later, because I also think that criticism needs so many, one should be aware of so many other disciplines as well.
Yeah, social
but-
sciences as many other
Yeah,
genres.
yeah. But coming to a contemporary literary scene of Pakistan and those who are writing in Urdu anywhere in the world in last 50, 60 years, who do you think have really contributed?
I don't think so.
Not any,
There is not even a single person I can recall.
neither in fiction?
In fiction, we have 2 or 3 people. One is 3 are in India,
Yeah, like
and 2 or 3 are in Pakistan. Nayyar Masood was there.
yeah,
Anis Ishfaq is there. He is a young man,
okay.
and he is trying to write short stories and novels. And Sayyid Muhammad Ashraf,
Yeah,
he is writing in Urdu. And in Pakistan, we have Zaf Sayyid, and I don't think any other person. But we are hopeful that short stories, especially, Ali Akbar Natiq is writing short stories, and he is better in this. In this.
but going back to some previous, any early independence days, and all those writers who write in Urdu, like
Intezar Hussain was a good writer.
okay.
Other than the habit of his nostalgia, he
That's fine.
wrote good. And Asad Muhammad Khan is a good writer. I
And how
recall.
about Manto Bedi,
Mantu Bedi
Ghulam
or
Abbas?
Ghulam Abbas. In criticism, we have about 2.5 people. The first is Waris Halvi. Second one is Muzaffar Ali Sayyid. Third one is Hassan Askari, and the last person was Shamsur Rahman Farooqi.
Yeah, yeah.
Shamsur Rahman Farooqi and Muhammad Hassan Askari are two halves of a coin.
Okay.
So we don't have many stuff in Urdu, especially theoretical criticism and applied criticism. We lack critics after 80s. There is no critic. The people who are writing for the name or for the sake of criticism are many people. But in real, we don't have any critic. This is what we
What's
lack.
the reason for that?
The main reason I have already told you is the study. You have to study all the stuff which has been translated in English, and they read in Urdu, the third language. So it is very difficult to get ecstasy or to get any creative player from the translation. We don't have any good translators. There are so many. One of them has translated about 400 books. Is it possible? They are just professionals and they are producing whatever they have. And even our critics are translating wrong terms, especially postmodern terms like decentredness, like deconstruction, like messagey and messenger, and like other many willing suspension of disbelief and stream of consciousness and defamiliarization of metaphor. One or 2 days ago, a person came to me and asked to translate willing suspension of disbelief. I answered him in Urdu, and I told him that बेयकीनी का हस्ब ख्वाहिश इल्तिवा, this is the translation. And the other one was defamiliarization of metaphor. I told him that for me, istiare ki ajubagi, this is better translation than ajdabiyana. There is no such word, and it is very, I think, rotten term. No?
You think that there is lack of studies amongst?
Yeah, lack of studies, lack
Basically,
of
I
experience.
think, maybe it's also because of lack of critical thinking, because we don't promote.
We don't know even how to frame the question. When it comes to a student, that class is over and now he is supposed to question, he puts his hand on and try to ask questions, but in real he was answering something. He wants to say something. We don't have questions. 300 साल से हैं हिंद के मैं खाने बंद, अब मुनासिब है तेरा फैजान हो आम ऐसा की. So 200 or 300 years ago, we don't have questions.
You have rightly pointed it out, and some people, many literary joints say that fiction or literature, mainly creative art, it doesn't give glib answers. It has to put right questions.
There are glitches. So in a nutshell, when we study literature, martaba ehsaas or darja shoor, the very sense of that playful creativity, your critic lack it. He lacks the very essence and the very ecstatic moment of creativity. When you are reading something, you are waiting for an ecstatic line. But now in social media, you can see all over in the world that they pontificate and ostentate. They don't know the real object and the real subject of criticism. So, I do write criticism, as I wrote a book on Bedil with my Marxist viewpoint. They say that Bedil is a Sufi poet, but his text, especially Ghazaliyat, says something more than tasawwuf, more than mysticism, more than Sufism. He is straightly and simply a poet with a great world outlook. If you name 5 great poets of the world, Bedil is one of them. It was
Of all
his
times.
in 2020 I wrote the book. He died in 1720 in Delhi. He was our local poet. But people like Shibli deny him because they have tradition of Sadi and Hafiz. Bedil was not of the tradition of Sadi or Hafiz. He has his own tradition, and his dialect was Dari. He was of Dari dialect. People don't know Dari here. Dari is being spoken in Afghanistan and the newly free, the countries who got freedom from USSR. Dari is being spoken over there.
Isn't it mainly between areas bordering Pakistan,
Yeah,
Afghanistan's
yeah.
area which are
Even
bordering
in our
Pakistan?
own country, in Quetta, Hazara town is Dari speaking one.
Okay.
6 lakh people are there who are speaking Dari, but there is no representative of this community, not even in your Academy of Letters.
Yeah, but it's almost Persian.
Yeah, it's a dialect of
Yeah,
Persian.
yeah.
It's a dialect of Persian. So, Bedil was such a deep poet that he says it is not difficult to understand the world if your eyes are open. The condition is to open your eye and see the world, and that will get you to the real meaning of world.
Great. Thank you, Akhtar Usman Sahab. It was pleasure talking to you. I wanted to have more
Same
time,
here.
but it just finished this
Same
time.
here. Thank you very much for that.
Okay. Thank you very much, viewers, for watching us. See you next Sunday, same time.